Hi, I'm Casey, but most of you know me around the web as Cartoon12 or ToonCow12 here on YouTube, and as my username suggests, I love cartoons. Even as an adult, I still prefer animated movies and shows over live-action ones, and I also like listening to people's opinions of their favorite episodes, so I thought, why not make some top 10 lists of my own? I'd be interested to hear if anyone agrees or disagrees with my choices and see if people can point out some things that I might not have considered before. So for this top 10 list, I'm going to feature one of my favorite cartoon shows, Time Squad. Created by Dave Wasson, the show was about a trio of time cops whose job was to travel through time and make sure history ran the way it was supposed to. The team consisted of dopey and trigger-happy Buck Tudrussell, prim and proper robot Larry, voiced by Mark Hamill himself, and history-loving orphan Otto Osworth. The show only lasted 2 seasons, and it's a shame because it was really hilarious, as well as got me interested in learning more about history, even though the show played everything for laughs rather than real accuracy. Also bear in mind that since this show is a comedy, most of my choices just depend on how funny I thought the episode was, and everyone's tastes are different. This is a personal favorites list, not necessarily a best of list, so whether you agree or disagree with my choices, I'd love to hear your feedback. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 10. Larry Upgrade. Tudrussell and Larry are kind of infamous for constantly fighting over everything, but in this episode, things finally reach a boiling point, leading to Larry accidentally downgrading himself, leaving him just as a mindless, obedient droid. Of course, Tudrussell thinks this is great at first, but as he quickly finds out, he should have been careful what he wished for. This is actually the only episode on this list that doesn't involve the characters traveling through time. There were a handful of episodes that just took place entirely on the space station, and they could be just as funny as a regular mission episode. Case in point, I can't eat a hamburger anymore without thinking,
Burger, 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 burger.
I can't take any more of this.
Burger, burger.
Number 9. Planet of the Flies. Ever hear of the story The Butterfly Effect? How changing one tiny event in the past could screw up all of history? Well, considering that's what this show is all about, this episode comes the closest to actually taking the concept seriously. After a mission in the Stone Age, Tudrussell squashes a fly, causing a historical chain reaction that, come the future, the world is ruled by anthropomorphic insects. Why this never happened in any other episode is anyone's guess. Like I said, this show went for laughs, not accuracy. The time travel paradoxes alone would make your head spin. Regardless, it all leads up to the trio having to travel back to before Tudrussell swatted the fly and fight themselves? Okay, well that's one way to solve the problem, until... Number 8. White House Weirdness. Time Squad meets Scooby-Doo. That's basically what this episode is. No, really, that's literally what this episode is. The trio arrives at the White House, which is supposedly being haunted by the ghosts of past presidents, leading the gang to have to solve the mystery in true Saturday morning cartoon style. Everything from the original Scooby-Doo is straight up lampooned, from overused dialogue to the cheesy costumes, hallway chases, even the background music is ripped straight from the cartoon. Clearly, whoever worked on this episode was a fan of the show, and they got away with it too thanks to those meddling time travelers. Number 7. Horse of Horrors. You know, for all the historical figures they met, it was always nice to see an old friend of theirs make a comeback. Case in point, Paul Revere is having a hard time making his famous ride due to the fact that he's afraid of horses. So when everything the trio tries fails, they're forced to call upon the help of Sigmund Freud, the famous psychologist who appeared in an earlier episode. It's really funny how this guy became buddies with the time trio, or how traveling through a time vortex completely unfazes him. It makes me wish we had more episodes like this with historical figures mixed up in the time stream a la Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And let's just say Freud's solution to the problem is, creative.
The British are coming! The British are coming! The British are coming!
Number 6. A Thriller at Attilas. It's always interesting to hear different characters' perspectives on the same events, and in the case of this episode, I thought it was unique that we never really got to see the actual mission. Instead, we just have to hear about it through the team's rather warped viewpoints. Come on, Tud Russell, did this Attila the Hun mission really involve Larry wearing a tutu, or Otto spouting off corny catchphrases like Robin?
Willikers? Golly gee!
I've heard you say Willikers.
And Larry, Tud Russell does not act like a caveman. At least most of the time he doesn't.
Unfortunately, Larry got that part of the story right. What did you do that for?
Thankfully, Otto finally gives us the true version of events. Too bad he's not an official officer making his entire report invalid.
It's 6:52. We can't log your story to headquarters. Sorry.
What?
Sorry, kid. Rules is rules. Now, make sure to put in the part where I kick butt.
Oh, no problem, Officer Ted Russell.
Number 5. Eli Whitney's flesh-eating mistake. Pilot episodes are a tricky thing. They not only have to introduce the main characters, but they also have to explain some of the background of the universe, as well as be entertaining enough to get you interested to keep watching. And this one has it all in spades. We're introduced to Otto Osworth and his unhappy life at an orphanage when he runs into Buck Tud Russell and Larry 3000, who mistakenly transported there. The two then rescue Otto and whisk him away to the future. After some exposition, the trio then take off to stop Eli Whitney from inventing flesh-eating robots. If the premise already sounds bizarre, imagine watching this as the first episode. It really made me go, huh? But in a good way. Right away I realized this was going to be like the modern-day Sherman and Mr. Peabody, but with even funnier jokes. Where else are you going to see Eli Whitney getting tasered? Number 4. Floundering fathers. Throughout the show, it was always hinted that things were never smooth sailing for Tud Russell and Larry until Otto came along. After all, Otto's really the only one of the three who knows anything about history. What would happen if he were suddenly gone? Well, this episode finally gives us an answer when Otto catches a bad cold and is forced to stay behind on the station while Buck and Larry have to handle a mission regarding Ben Franklin on their own. Which wouldn't be so bad if they just knew who Ben Franklin was. Or that he helped write the Declaration of Independence and not invent the light bulb. Case in point, this episode really proves how lucky Larry and Tud Russell are to have Otto with them. Because I'm pretty sure the Declaration did not have the words "party hardy" in it. Number 3. The Island of Dr. Freud. Well, if Horse of Horrors was on this list, you know Sigmund Freud's first appearance had to be on here too somewhere. The idea of the famous psychologist hypnotizing people to think they're animals opens up all sorts of hilarious jokes, and the way Freud tries to BS his way out of everything is the icing on the cake.
Listen, it's not me you're angry with, but your inner child. And you shut up. What's so mean? It means you're crazy. Don't touch me.
On second thought, maybe these people were happier as animals.
Hey, I dreamt I was a watermelon.
You hate your mother.
Hey, you're right.
Number 2. Notorious. Did you know that George Washington Carver invented over 100 uses for the peanut? Did you also know that one of those uses ironically wasn't peanut butter? And did you also know that George had a jealous younger brother who turned into a supervillain and invented evil uses for the peanut and tried to take over the world with evil peanut-induced zombies? No? Yeah, me neither. Throw in some of Tud Russell's new sci-fi gadgets along with a battle on board a peanut-shaped blimp, and you got an episode worthy of a James Bond movie.
You
Let's go. The laser. It worked. What did you do?
I think I pressed this button here.
That's the self-destruct button.
Oh, drat. Oh my gosh! Todd Russell was up there!
And my number one favorite episode of Time Squad is To Heil with Caesar. It's weird that for how funny and crazy this show could get, this is one of the few episodes that actually taught a personal lesson in not becoming a doormat to people, and that sometimes when you want something, you really have to fight for it. And in this case, literally. When the team arrives in Rome to find it in disarray, the three must help a lazy Caesar get off his butt and do something about it.
Oh, I was promised magic. Ta-da! Guard, seize them!
Ow! That hurt my fingers, you jerk.
But when the people make it clear they'd rather have Todd Russell as their leader, it's up to Otto to help Caesar regain his self-confidence and beat Buck in a Colosseum battle. Kung Fu style. Lesson learned, everyone. Have the guts to stick up for yourself and don't let fame and power go to your head. Lest you get beat up by a kid who learned karate off of TV.
It too, Larry. It too.
I'm Cartoon 12 and I hope you enjoyed the countdown. I'll have more top 10 lists soon, so I'll see you all next time.